Hello everyone, Johnny Miner here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with FireRed, Pokémon FireRed. Last time we started the additional intro exclusive to these games, started the original intro present also in Pokémon Red and Green, Red and Blue outside of Japan. So yeah, today we'll continue doing that. The former we won't finish today for sure, while hopefully we'll finish Ox intro and so actually start playing the game. But yeah, without further ado, let's start. Yeah, with this one, yeah, we won't finish it because we also have this other part, but we'll tackle it next time. It's better if we continue here. Hi Ringo, nice to see you. Yeah. On the top right we have the usual A for the next page, B to go back. Yeah. The new part is the main text. そして困っている人を助け、謎を解いていくことで新たな道が開かれていきます。And yeah, first and foremost, we have そして。I think we have seen it in this very series, in previous parts. Yeah, it simply means and then, thus and now and so on. Should be unaccented if I recall correctly. I can't see it there. Let me quickly take the physical dictionary to check it once more. Okay, while I search for it, I want to mention a fun fact. Because, yeah, funny enough, the first video of this very series was the 151st video on the channel. So, yeah, exactly the number of Pokemon in the original games, Pokemon Red and Green. And also came to mind the 151の喜び. Yeah, the ending of the Japanese anime, funny enough, sung by Professor Oak. And by the way, yeah, if you have never heard it before, I recommend checking it out. It's a really nice little song. Of course, those who have watched the Japanese anime, even more if you're Japanese, but also outside of Japan if you had the chance. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun fact that I noticed, but between one thing or the other I wasn't able to mention before. But yeah. So yeah, we have seen it before, I think, and yeah, it's unaccented. Reminder that the E is barely heard if at all because it's written in a voice consonant, so yeah, そして。Then we have 困っている from 困る. Which means, I think we have seen it before. Not sure if in this series. Let me quickly actually check if we had it in the previous part. Nope, don't think so. But yeah, komaru means to be troubled, to have a difficulty, accented. Here in its form, it's a verb, godan verb, so we have to follow the rules to, it's in ru, so it becomes double consonant te. Again, most likely first we originally made the continuity form by changing the u into i, komari te, but then the i fell, and then komarte, difficult to pronounce, so yeah, komatte. The form required because actually then we add the verb iru, unaccented, to be as to exist on its own for animated things, so people and animals. After that, the form is used as an auxiliary for a continuing action or state. After that, we have a noun, so a relative clause again. Noun which is hito, we haven't studied its kanji, person or people, better, let's say in this case. So people who are in trouble. We have then the object particle o, written as one, pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Then we have taske, from taskeru. We've seen it a lot in the previous series, Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2. To save, to rescue, by extension also to help, to assist, but the U barely heard if at all because it's within a voice constant of the su. Ru verb is a verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form, and so in this case, the continuative form actually used as do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence, similar to it's the same use as the form on its own. Unsurprising because actually the form is a continuative form of an auxiliary used in classical Japanese, but so unsurprising. Using the continuative form as is in contemporary Japanese is more formal, usually found in written texts, here I'd say simply more formal. Then we have naso. It should be naso. If I recall correctly, we have seen it also in the previous series. Unaccented, yes. Riddle, puzzle, enigma, mystery. Can also be used as a noun with the possessive particle. Structure used in practice like an adjective, even though it isn't. Here as a noun. Then we have the object particle again. We have the verb toite from toku. I think actually might be an accented typical verb used with naso. No, actually accented, okay, never mind. Literally to untie, to unfasten, to unwrap, to do, unbind, to unpack. All those meanings, by extension also to unsew, to unstitch. But by figuratively, to solve, to work out, to answer technically, but better to solve. To solve a mystery or a riddle, puzzle, however you want to translate naso. It's a verb called a verb, so to make that a form, like in this case, we have to, it's in ku, so it becomes ite. Again, continuative form by changing the u into it, tokite, but then the k fell, and so only the e remained. The form, in this case, required because then we had iku as on an auxiliary, also in this case, after the form of the verb. On its own, iku means to go, unaccented. In this case, after that, the form of a verb can have some different meanings. One is literally do the action of that verb and go, or better, do the action of that verb then also in the direction, so starting from where you are and then towards somewhere else. Can also be used with going in the sense of forward, so with a temporal meaning figuratively. I think maybe actually in this sense in this case, but we'll see when we translate it. After toiteiku, we have koto, the usual nominalizer for verbs, thing as in matter. Then we have the particle de with, so yeah, and the means, with the solving of mysteries, technically. But yeah, then we have arata, an adjective, as it can be seen because of the following na, also here. It means new. You might remember another adjective, an e adjective in this case, that is atarashi, which also means new. Yeah, both exist, have the same meaning. This one is used, of course, usually when you add an a and before a word, a noun. Also because it's shorter, of course. But yeah, both are used and use the same kanji when we'll study it. The accent, by the way, is on the a. Arata, high, low, low. And then also low than a, in this case. Yeah, new, followed by the noun, modified by it. Michi, we've seen it the last time also. Unaccented means road, path, street, lane, passage, route, way. Then we have the subject particle ga. And then we have hirakarete, ikimasu. From hiraku, the verb which means to open. This one both intransitive and transitive, unlike other ones. And as I mentioned before, there's a distinction compared to aku, akeru. Hiraku, by the way, accented, while aku, akeru, unaccented. In that case, aku intransitive, akeru transitive, the usual u, eru distinction. Couple of verbs, intransitive, transitive. The difference, I checked the article again about it, is that, yeah, hiraku involves some kind of unfolding, can also be simply figuratively, while aku, akeru is simply opening, creating an opening, a hole technically. Well, yeah, hiraku is actually perfect in this case. By the way, the distinction, especially with certain words like door, is not completely clear also to Japanese always. So yeah, you can find them without the distinction, but yeah, both exist. Yeah, it makes sense here, as we see. But first, hiraku, it's a verb called verb, so we can have to change the u. We can change the u into a, and then add re-ru. Here we can see only the re because of further conjugation, to make the passive form, and yeah, the regular how you make the passive form in contemporary Japanese for verbs in this case. And so yeah, is opened. It's passive forms are ru verbs, ichidan verbs, so we can simply drop the ru to make the continuative form, and in this case to then add the te to make the te form. The form required because, yeah, after that we add ikimasu, so again iku, verb called verb, so we can change the u into i to make the continuative form. In this case, required to add the auxiliary verb mas used to make the polite form of verbs. So yeah, this part says, and then you help people, you will I'd say here better a present. It's the present form of the verb, used as a future simple, because yeah, it's a usage of the present form in Japanese. So yeah, you will help people literally who are in trouble. And by helping people who are in trouble and solving mysteries, puzzles, riddles, however you want to translate naso. I say maybe better puzzles technically in this case, in the case of Pokemon games. Yeah, by doing that, the Kotode new paths, new routes, technically, but yeah, more in general in this case, so yeah, new paths will open, technically, specifically, from that moment onward, and yeah, that's why we use the teiku form, as mentioned. Oh yeah, then we have Dondon Saki ni Susunde Kudasai. Pretty short, this one. We have Dondon, as you might have guessed by the repetition and also the sound, is an onomatopoeia. Fundamentally would be actually a drumming noise, beating, pounding, banging, booming, stamping, as it says, all these translations, but yeah, don, literally, yeah, you can hear the sound of a drumming noise or pounding. But by extension, and like in this case, it becomes rapidly, quickly, steadily, or also continuously, one after the other in succession. Maybe actually better the second, this last meaning in this case. Yeah, the accent, by the way, is as usual for these four onomatopoeias on the first mora. So yeah, on the do, on the first do, don. So yeah, high, low, low. Then we have sakini. Saki, literally end, point, tip, end. Also says also the online dictionary, unaccented, as we have seen. More often than not, by extension, it becomes front of something, or ahead of, or the way ahead. So yeah, from those literal meanings and most likely original meanings, point, tip, and so on, we get front or ahead. Yeah, in our case, ahead. Ni, the particle in this case, towards, because it's used with a movement verb, as we see in a second, which is susunde, from susumu. Funny enough, again, we have seen it literally in game when we played Kirby's Adventure. There was the sign, and so yeah, it means to advance, to go forward, unaccented. It's a verb codon verb, so to make that a form, we have to follow the rules. It's in mu, so it becomes de. So yeah, technically, originally, I changed the u into e to make the continuative form, susumi te. But then the e fell, so susum te. But then that m, which became a generic nasal, influenced the following te, which became voiced. But that's actually because voiced consonants, syllables with, actually more as I should say in this case, with the dakten, nigori, in contemporary Japanese, in classical Japanese were actually prenasalized also. So yeah, te on its own, actually de in our case on its own would be nde, pronounced as nde. And so yeah, unsurprisingly, with that before it, the following te became nde. Nowadays, easier, we literally write on its own and then de. Yeah, that's the origin, again, to remind you about it. How I wish I had these explanations when I started studying Japanese myself, instead of having to simply memorize them. But yeah, the form in this case required because we had then kudasai. As we have seen from kudasaru, a verb of giving, to give, of a superior to an inferior, and yeah, uses the kanji of low, bottom, because yeah, the movement is from top to bottom, potentially also physically, originally, but yeah, definitely at least figuratively. We then studied the kanji of bottom, because yeah, it's a pretty easy one, and we have already found it. Kudasaru, technically u verb, godan verb, so we would change the u into i, but we actually then in practice replace ru with i, because I most likely change the u into i, kudasari, but then the r fell, so only the i remained. It's typical of these honorific verbs like kudasaru, and yeah, there's more than one that does this change with, instead of kudasari, kudasai. So yeah, the r file for all of these. Kudasai, by the way, accented on the sa, on its own, despite technically being originally continuative form, so should be, in that case, accented on the i. But most likely it becomes actually a diphthong, so it could be explained also this way, the different accent. It's worth mentioning that technically, and it's implied, then a masse, the imperative form of mass, so yeah, it's the polite imperative form, te kudasai, even though, strictly speaking, the origin would be the masse is the imperative polite, implied. Kudasaru, verb of giving. After that, the form of a verb, do the favor of doing the action of the verb in te. So yeah, simply here it's please advance ahead. Technically could be rapidly, quickly. I'd say maybe better in this case in succession, in the sense, well, continuously, one after the other, in succession. Honestly, either could be fine in this case. Then, last but not least, for today we check the final part here on this screen. The other one we'll check out another time. Yeah, it says, Toki ni shobu o shikakerareta Yasei no ikimono tachi to tatakau koto mo aru deshou. Yeah. First we have tokini, which comes from toki. We've seen it on it, and the accent on its own is on the ki, low, high. So actually in this case, by adding ni, we actually can hear it toki ni, low, high, low. Otherwise, if we don't add anything, it sounds the same as an unaccented word. By adding the ni particle at a specific time, but since the word toki means time, occasion, and so on, it becomes on occasion, technically, occasionally, so yeah, sometimes we could say, I'd add at times, technically, but yeah. So yeah, sometimes we'll keep it simple here. Then we have shobu, which we have seen before in this very series, because it's the word for match, contest, game, accented on the first syllable, the first mora, on the shobu, despite being Chinese compound. Most of those are unaccented, but the second most common accent for those is on the first mora, so it's one of those. Literally means victory or defeat, uses the kanji of those two, with those two meanings. But then it, by extension, becomes match and so on. Then we have the object particle o. And then we have shikakerare tari, quite long. But it actually comes from shikakeru. And then it's further conjugated. Shikakeru is technically a compound verb. Because that's she, even though nowadays it's written with a certain kanji, which we'll study eventually, most likely is actually the continuative form of suru. Suru is completely irregular, so it becomes she. Then we have the usual kakeru, which we have already seen, to hang up, technically, the fundamental meaning. But then, by extension, it has various extended meanings when used as a suffix, so actually as the second verb part of a compound. It has the meanings, we have seen them last time because it came up with another such compound. To be partway doing, to begin but not complete, to be about to. The other one is to address someone, to direct something to someone, and so on. In this case, actually, should be the first one, the first meaning. Because, shikakeru, luckily also accented like kakeru, means to start, to begin, to commence. And even more so, you can see that technically you could say shi, to do, a generic to do, like suru. And then kakeru is the part that's the meaning to start, so would be to start doing, to commence doing, to begin doing. Other extended meanings. Well, actually, one of those might interest us for this case, because it can also mean to challenge, to pick a fight. In bigger context, also to make war. But in our case, simply to challenge, to pick a fight. Kakeru and so also shikakeru are root verbs, incident verbs. So we can change the u into a. And then add re-ru. Or technically you could, usually it's said that you drop the ru and then add rare-ru. Doesn't change in practice, and honestly, most likely actually we added the are-ru as usual, like also for u-verbs. In this case it doesn't matter. But regardless, again, to make the passive form of the verb, again, passive form, which is also a ru verb, incident verb, so we can drop the ru and add ta to make the ta form of the verb, on its own used as the past form of the verb in plain speech. Here we add also the ri, and so actually becomes this form tari, which has the two meanings we have seen. Or mentioning again that technically this tari is also a continuity form, so it's unsurprising that it gets these meanings, ing and ing, usually with in the sense of two opposite actions in alternation, coming and going, for example, or more often actually simply doing such things as, so yeah, again actually a non-exhaustive list, but of verbs. With that, then we have Yase, quite an important word for Pokemon games, as we see. It's a Chinese compound. The se is, by the way, the kanji for to live. We've already studied it, the one ikiru, the verb ikiru, but yeah, here of course in its one of its Chinese readings, the most common one. Because yeah, it's a Chinese compound, unsurprisingly, yase, unaccented like most of those. Ei, nowadays mostly pronounced as long e, yase. Some still pronounce it as sei. But yeah. Means wild. Yeah. Technically, the first ya, as we'll see eventually, it has the meanings of plains, field, but then, of course, by extension, technically rustic. Yeah, then we have the say of life, but also one of its meaning is technically genuine. Yeah. Yase means wild. Noun. But yeah, a noun that takes the possessive particle to make in practice an adjective, like in this case, wild something. The something is ikimono. We have seen it last time. It's a compound, and funny enough, we see here again, actually, ikiru in its continuative form, verb is then verb, we drop the root to make the continuative form. Technically could be in its usage as a noun. Here is also simply, we could say it, because it's a compound, then to make the compound mono, then we have thing, as in object, technically. Yeah, literally living thing. Yeah, pretty easy. The accent, as we have seen, is on the mo. And yeah, so unsurprisingly, one of the typical positions for the accent for such compounds. And so yeah, on the first mora of the second part of the compound, ikimono. Low, high, high, low. Actually went on its own, because here we have also tachi, and so the accent of words with the addition of tachi, the pluralizing suffix, is always before tachi itself, so on the no. Ikimono tachi. So yeah, on the no. Low, high, 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 and then low, 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 the completely low, the tachi. Then we have the particle to, with, in this case, so literally with living things, wild living things, and yes, you can see why Yase is quite important for Pokemon games, wild Pokemons. And then we have the verb tatakau, should be unaccented. We studied the kanji, but not the one actually used the most. We see that eventually we have studied the other one. But yeah, in general, the meaning would be to fight. To do battle against, and yeah, then by extension also to make war on a bigger scale. By extension also simply to compete against, or to fight as in to struggle against adversities and so on. And actually in this last meaning is the one usually used with the other kanji we have already studied. unsurprising, by the way, again in Kirby's Adventure, since we saw it for the arena. But yeah, here we have tatakau, unaccented as mentioned, verb colon verb. Well, actually, here we simply then add koto, the nominalizer for verbs. Technically, structurally, verb followed by a noun, so relative clause. But yeah, the matter of fighting, simply to fight or fighting. Then we have the inclusive particle mo, also, even. Then we have the verb aru, to be as in to exist of inanimate things. So yeah, objects, places, concepts, in this case a verb. So yeah. And then, last but not least, we have the sho. Technically, yeah, it's a form of the copula, a peculiar one. With this sho, technically, is similar in structure to the masho, and so the volitional form, that one of verbs. But yeah, with the copula, we actually get two meanings specific to it. The sho is the polite one, the ro is the plain one, in plain speech. One of them is, it seems, I think, I guess, I wonder. In this case, actually, we have the second one, right? Don't you agree? There's actually a difference in accent between the two. Unfortunately, I don't remember exactly which one. Well, in this case, I think that but yeah, we'll check it out again when the time comes. I'll search it again because, yeah, unfortunately, if you explain such as mentioned before, and that's why I also focus so much on the accent, because I'm actually reviewing it or straight up learning it in some occasions myself, because yeah, it's barely taught when at the university and in most places. So yeah, but yeah, it actually matters. Like in this case, the distinction between the two usages of the sho can actually be heard with a different accent. So yeah, we'll check it again. In the case of an accented verb like aru, it should be that one is aru the sho, that the sho actually stays completely low. The other one becomes aru, then as if there were a slight pause, even though maybe it actually not necessarily there, but then the accent, you can hear the accent of the sho on its own, so low, high, low, because it's on the sho. Aru, the sho. My guess would be maybe the latter being the second meaning, but yeah, I'll check it out again when I have the chance. But we'll see again and again this form used anyway, so we'll review it then. But yeah, the translation of this part is on occasions, at times, sometime, to make it easier. There are, we should say, in this case, there is, there are, because yeah, aru, to be as in to exist, can be used then in translation, there is, there are. Also, being challenged to fights, to adapt it in English, but yeah, that's for the shobu or shikake raretari. and fighting with yeah, hopefully I'm not sure if we'll get to the actual battles, but luckily we should be able to finish the intro, so we then hopefully start playing the game itself. But yeah, we won't check this part of the additional intro today. We have to go, although of course, through Oak's intro. Oh yeah, we are about to finish this one. Yeah, as I was saying, at times there are also being challenged at fights and fighting with, in English we would say against, wild living things, of course the wild Pokemon. And yeah, the show in this case is clearly in the sense of right, don't you agree? Yeah, simply actually to actually strengthen the meaning. Yeah, it's not usually the show is thought as the dubitative. So yeah, with it seems, or even better, I wonder. Yeah, in this case, clearly not. It's actually further confirmation, or at most you could say to similar to the ne, and usually with the meanings right and so on. But yeah, with that we can actually start the game. Yeah, it's say we can start it, and then we will take a while break, since I actually really need it after explaining all that. But yeah, we'll quickly go through these. We'll start before taking the break, at least part of Oak's intro. Yeah, the final part of that additional intro, which I check again. Yeah, this part we have already seen. Funny enough, we had already checked out all this intro about Oak himself, Pokemon, this world. We were at this part, yeah, choosing if we are a boy or a girl. Yeah, I'm choosing the boy. Yeah, we hadn't checked this. After choosing if you are a boy or a girl, Oak asks, Kimi no namae wa? First and foremost, we have Kimi, unaccented, it's the second person singular pronoun, you. Familiar language. With the possessive particle no, your. And then we have namae, we have already seen it, technically a compound, but still the same meaning as na on its own, unaccented. Both mean name in general, or more specifically given name, first name. Oh yeah, so we actually choose it. Oh yeah, funny enough, in this case actually we don't have I think in the original, or maybe I'm thinking actually of other games, you are given also a list of names before being prompted to choose it yourself. But yeah, we have to go through quickly this the additional writings on this screen. In the message, the question asked, as you can see also with the question mark, Anata no namae wa, and literally is as for your name. Instead of Kimi, we have Anata, the more general second person singular pronoun for you, so you. Nowadays actually considered rude or at the very least distant, because you when you referring to other people, you should actually use their titles or their names, followed by the usual suffixes, included their titles, and so on. So yeah, you rarely use anata. Funny enough, it's anata is used as familiar language for dear honey. So yeah, in that case, of course, not. It's simply a usage of familiar language. But yeah, in this case, simply used as a generic queue because they're speaking to whoever the player is, and yeah, so a generic queue. But yeah, literally the structure your, again, you plus possessive particle no, so your, namae, name. Then we have the topic particle wire is written as ha. And so yeah, literally as for your name, and then implied, most likely, nan desu ka? So yeah, what is it? But yeah, you can find this structure, anata no namae wa, so stopping after the wa, and in this case we need the question mark in writing to specify that it's a question. And yeah, we have all the kana here. By pressing select and or also the button, we can change to kana, as in, of course, it was written in katakana, so yeah, to katakana, ABC for Latin letters, English letters, and yeah, and then it cycles. Yeah, we have kana in hiragana, so it goes back to that, and then so on and so on. We want these. Because, as I mentioned before, we are calling ourselves re. Notice that the order is aiueo, kakikukeko, sashisu and so on. Yayuyo, wa, o, n. The small letters, yayuyo, the small su, the long vowel mark, small aiueo. Above we also had the exclamation mark and question mark. This one I'm not a space. That one I'm not sure. And then also Nigori and the Maru. So yeah, Dakuten and Handakuten respectively. But yeah, we studied this in our Super Mario Bros. 1 and 2, as in the Lost Levels series at the very start of this channel. Yeah, we'll add a small su then a to, and then of course the Dakuten, reddo. Yeah, red, as we have seen in the very title of this series of this game. Yeah, red from English, reddo, apart from the additional O to keep the because D can stay on its own instead of U because it will change the consonant. But yeah, notice the doubling of the consonant also. That's the biggest difference. Okay, perfect. With the B button you can go back, modoru, the verb we have already seen before in this very series, I'm pretty sure. Actually, we have seen it also today. Yeah, it can be seen on the top right. We'll check it in a second. And then with the start button, owaru, to end, the intransitive form of the verb should be an accent, if I recall correctly. It is. But yeah, first, before pressing start or the button owaru, let's quickly mention on the top right with the controls, the D-pad actually, being a GBA game, we have Ido movement. It's a Chinese compound, luckily unaccented like most of those, and yeah, movement in general, that's the fundamental meaning. Yeah, in our case, simple movement in video games of the cursor, specifically in this case. Then we have kete, we have seen it before, decision, determination, also another Chinese compound and an accented, with the A button, and yeah, with B again, Modoru, fun enough on both. And yeah, we'll choose Owaru. And yeah, in the dialogue, Oak says Fumu. As we have seen, Fumu is a and yeah, pretty similar actually, from using the Fu in the Japanese, accented on the Fu, Fumu. So yeah, also as in I see. Suspension dots. Then the name we put in, so Reddo. To with, as in the quotation particle in this case specifically. Then we have you, verb, which means to say. I think we actually studied its kanji before, also pronounced as you, unaccented. And yeah, to say in general, also use to name, to call. And yeah, so in our case, you are called Red. Then we have nda, no da. No, the nominals for verbs, thing as in fact. Here abbreviated into n. And then da, the copula in plain speech in this case. And yeah, literally it is that, the fact is that, the expectation is that, the reason is that, the explanation is that, and so on. As we have seen. Last but not least, the final sentence particle na, which is actually always not clear, as we have seen, because technically we have a na, usually longer, which means more wow, u. Can also be simply shortened. We have seen actually also doesn't help that in Kansai dialect it's actually ne, straight up ne. But yeah, even outside of that can be used with some meanings of ne, technically some meanings of yo. So yeah, fortunately it's not. It's a final sentence particle that can have all those meanings. I'd say in this case, isn't it? So yeah, in that sense. But yeah, he says so. So, I could add, well, your name, well, better, quickly, actually, literally, you are called Red, aren't you? But it is that you are called Red, aren't you? Or, well, if we have to use it is that, then isn't it? Sorry. But yeah, the responses are simply hi, the fundamental way to say yes, ie, high accent on the ha, ie, technical accent on the e at the end, so even though usually it's used on its own, so it can be heard that it's accented on the last syllable instead, on the last more instead of unaccented. Yeah is the opposite, the fundamental way to say no. But yeah, we choose hi. And yeah, here comes this part. But yeah, I'd say actually let's quickly take our usual break now, around 5 minutes. When we'll be back with, of course, as you might remember if you have already seen it, or you might guess, yeah, we have to give the name to also this character. And yeah, see you in around 5 minutes. And we are back. Yeah, so we can continue. And yeah, here Hawk says, Koitsu wa watashi no mago. And yeah, first and foremost we have Koitsu. We've seen other words of this kind. Well, first and foremost, it's part of the Kosoado series. As usual, Ko goes to both the speaker and the listener. So far from the speaker goes to the listener. Apart from both. Do the interrogative. Koso A usually unaccented. Do accent on the do itself. With itsu, koitsu, like here also unaccented. We get literally would be this fellow, this guy, technically this person, but yeah, better this fellow, this guy, because actually it's a familiar language and can be actually also derogatory. We've seen also by extension used as this, as in this one, this thing. But yeah, usually at the very least familiar. So yeah, this fellow, this guy, but yeah, funny enough, can also be derogatory. So be careful in its usage, but yeah, we'll find it a lot in video games and so on, and can also be found in anime, manga. But yeah. Then we have the topic particle wa. As for this guy, then we have watashi, the first person singular pronoun, the fundamental one nowadays in Japanese, unaccented. It's actually an abbreviation of watashi, which is straight up formal, that one. Watashi is slightly formal, and it's the most common one. With the possessive particle no, of course, becomes of me, and so actually my. And then we have the word mago. I think actually accent on the last syllable, yes it is, mago. It means grandchild, and then of course you adapt it. Grands, you can adapt it in when translating it into English. Grandson, granddaughter, but yeah, in Japanese it's simply grandchild without specifying. Yeah, so here Oak says, as for this guy, implied we have a copula, and also he is my grandson. Yeah, then after that he says, Kimi no osana najimi de ari, raibaru de aru. First and foremost we have again Kimi, you, the familiar one, with the possessive particle, so your. We have this term osana najimi, which is actually a compound noun. First and foremost, we have, I want to find the accent of the singular parts. We have osanai, which means little, as in very young. And so actually by extension, then childish, immature. But yeah, the fundamental meaning is very young, so yeah, like a child. The accent is accent, okay, osanai. Here, without the E, usually that's not the case, but yeah, here, because of the compound, it becomes like that. Then we should have actually, we have the najimi, which actually comes from najimu, a verb technically a verb that uses it's technically a compound verb of its own, even though a not typical one, because the na it's not a verb on its own, because the verb would be nareru with that kanji. Technically we use another one more often than not nowadays, but technically both are used. Nareru, actually nareru, accented, so low, high, low, means to get used to go accustomed to become familiar with. Other extended meanings like become experienced at, but yeah, let's focus on the fundamental one. Technically to get used to, better in our case to become familiar with. But yeah, we don't follow the usual rules to make this which is actually clearly also considering the kanji, which we can see here unfortunately, a compound verb. But yeah, then a comes from that. And then we have this jimu. Nowadays should be actually from shimiru. Clearly, as can be seen, that jimu, well, apart from the voicing, which is unsurprising because that often happens to the second part of a compound, especially of strictly Japanese origin. Yeah, would be jimu, from shimu. The verb used nowadays is shimiru. That's not surprising for those who have, if you have know some classical Japanese, because yeah, verbs in some verbs which are longer, like these ones in iru and eru in contemporary Japanese, were actually shorter, and also for some Godan verbs, the same applies in classical Japanese. So yeah, that's why we have the difference, but yeah, it's clearly still shimiru. Shimiru, actually an accent, so shimiru would mean technically to pierce, to penetrate. Actually better in this case, for this kanji, to soak in, to permeate. Also considering the kanji used, there are other ones with the meaning to pierce and so on, most typical for that. So yeah, better to soak in, to permeate. So yeah, this najimu, to become familiar with, and then this soaking in, permeating. The meaning of najimu is accent, by the way, najimu as a reminder, to become familiar with, again, to get used to become accustomed to. So yeah, they use the usages of nareru with only this further specification of technically soaking, figuratively soaking in. But yeah, with this, I don't think osana najimu is used as a verb now. I usually have heard it in its noun form, but I'll check. Yeah, no, it's not used, at least according to the dictionary. I didn't think so. Yeah, this osana najimi, by adding osana to najimu, means childhood friend, or even better would be friend from infancy. And yeah, the infancy, the childhood, is from that osana, the osanai is mentioned. And then, yeah, the Najimu is the getting familiar with, and so yeah, then by with the clearly a continuative form, and so the corresponding noun becomes by a friend. So yeah, Osana Najimi, the accent of which is on the second na, so unsurprisingly, because technically it's the start of the second part of the compound. Osana, and then the Najimu, Najimin, specifically in this case. So yeah, on the na of Najimu. Yeah, Osana Najimi. Funny enough, for example, by the way, immediately comes to mind, as I've heard it a lot, in the intro of Detective Conan, Case Closed, where he mentions Orewa Koko Setante Kudo Shinichi Osana Najimi. Yeah, first he said that I'm the high school's detective Kudo Shinichi, and then Osana Najimi because then he talks about Ran, his childhood friend. But yeah, just as a reminder of where I've heard it also a lot, but also as where it's typical, this childhood friend, the term for childhood friend. Being a noun, after that we have Deari. From Dearu we can see it lower in the second part. Dearu is another form of the copula. This one is technically plain speech, but it's actually plain speech as special form. As a reminder, the usual one for plain speech is da, as we have seen. This one is actually a formal or literary term, and yeah, can be found usually in books. Yeah, in this case, simply formal. It's not easy to for foreigners to say Osana Najimi. Yeah, I get them. Of course, it wasn't. Well, it was. It wasn't easy at first, even for me, but less so because luckily I'd say that Italian is advantaged when it comes to such sounds compared to, for example, English. English, it's really difficult to pronounce such words. But yeah. The Aru, as mentioned, the formal or literary copula. By the way, the accent of it should be on Aru, as mentioned, but I want to quickly check. Here, while I'm searching, I can mention that, well, like Aru itself, verb colon verb, so we can change the U into it to make the continuative form. And yeah, continuative form used as to the was said up to this verb and the rest of the sentence, because it's the copula. Yeah, continuative form, again, unsurprising using that, since we are using the R, which is both are formal or literary ways to speak. More often actually used, especially found in books. The Aru. Funny enough, it isn't present, but yeah, I think it's actually simply the accent of Aru in this case. But yeah. After that we have Raibaru, we have the additional U at the end because the R can stay on its own. Actually, L in English, then it becomes Japanese R because, not only it's a variant of it for some speakers, but it's anyway the closest sound. Japanese R usually pronounced as a tap flap, so Ru, Ra, like in our case, Raibaru. In addition, also, of course, the B instead of V, because, while nowadays we can write va, vi, vu, ve, vo in Japanese, in words, in such words that are in Japanese from a while ago, they didn't change it, of course, so Raibaru. As for its accent, okay, perfect, like in English, on the Ra, Raibaru. Then again the Aru here in its final form. So the form used, the dictionary form, the one found at the end of sentences in plain speech. So simply the translation is he implied is your childhood friend and is your rival. Implied another Kimi no, of course, in this case. Here comes the... okay, no. For the rival, we do get the choices here. We check them in a second, but first, let's mention what Ox says, because it's always funny. We have the suspension dots, then it says Eto, question mark. Eto is an expression, and we could say interjection, can actually be found in various forms, like etto with the doubling of the consonant, like here with the longer vowel, actually also both technically, etto. The most typical one should be an e, because technically it would be the to is the with, as in the quotation particle in this case, with an e. The typical one should be e with the small su. The small su becomes an abrupt end, and then also the doubling of the consonant, but first and foremost actually an abrupt end, if it were used on its own. So, so with an e, and so it's actually like an or in English. Let me see. Well, and then with the question mark. Exactly. When you have in moment, you say it in moments in which you have trouble remembering, or have difficulties about saying something. It's that the usage. Exactly, Ringo, thank you. But literally with that because you quote that and then the quotation particle to, as we have seen with other expressions like this. The accent isn't present there. I wonder if I find it in the physical dictionary quickly. But funny enough, so Oak is saying and as we see, then you say But yeah, let me quickly check if I can find it in the physical dictionary for the accent. Yeah, this part is always funny. Yeah, no, I don't think I see it there. My guess would be either on the E itself or unaccented. Fortunately, we can't verify it. But yeah, after that it says Namae wa nante itta kana. Again, Namae, again, name, the topic particle wa. Then we have nante. How, what, can be used in questions. What, what's that? It actually comes from nani, what, simple, a simpler what in Japanese, accent on the na. Just like in this case, nante, the accent is still on the na. Then with the additional te, it gets shortened into na n instead of na ni. Yeah, you might have heard nani, also pretty famous as a meme. Like for example the one of Feast of the North Star and so on, or JoJo's Bizarre Adventures and so on. But yeah. And then we have itta, actually itta from you, verb go and verb, so we have to follow the rules. It's in u, so it becomes double consonant ta. Again, originally verbs in u were actually, as in literally with a final u instead of ku and so on, ku, su, and so on, were actually in hu, or better, originally in pu. So yeah, change the u into i, ip, ta. The i fell, ip, ta, difficult to pronounce, became the doubling of the following consonant. Itta. And yeah, still unaccented, like you, itta. The past form of the verb. And last but not least, we have kana, the final sentence particle, a compound technique between ka and na. Ka, the regular interrogative particle, na we have already mentioned. But yeah, kana means I wonder, or also similar, should I, is it, but yeah, in this case, I wonder. So yeah, Oak says, as for his name, I wonder how it was said, literally. So yeah, how you said it. So yeah, how he was called. So yeah, Oak forgot the name of his grandson. Yeah, we actually have these options here. The first one is the option to check, says Jibun de Kimeru. First and foremost, we have Jibun. Yeah, it's not an actual name, this option. It's it says Jibun, oneself, unaccented. It makes sense, it's a Chinese compound. The particle which is used with oneself, like Jibun, also used, as we have seen, with, for example, with the numeral plus counter of by oneself, well, by one person, literally. So we could say by, most likely, let's say, maybe this de is actually the form of the copula in this case. But yeah, anyway, it's used with such terms as oneself. Again, as mentioned, the numeral plus counter with the number of people, Futaride, for example, with 2 people. But yeah. And then we have the verb kimeru. I think it was an accented. It means to decide. By the way, uses the same kanji for the first kanji of kette. So unsurprising, yeah. Unaccented, as mentioned, yeah, it means to decide, to choose, to determine, and so on. So yeah, decide by yourself. So to choose to write his name yourself. Then we have green from English, clearly. We check its accent. In addition, of course, we have the U, because the G can stay on its own, unlike the N at the end. It's the only consonant that can stay on its own. Luckily, the accent is just like in English on the R, green. Then we have quite important this one, Shigeru. Technically, Shigeru is a verb, which means to grow thickly, to be, and so then by extension to be full in leaf, to be rampant, to luxuriate, to be luxurious. Accented. I'm forgetting the rule when changed into a proper name, because yeah, it's there are some rules for proper names. I'll check them again eventually, and I'll tell you about them in the future. Because yeah, for example, I know that the ones that were originally adjectives should always be accented, and so I get accented on the third to last more. Nouns, I'm pretty sure that simply follow the accent of the original noun, except maybe for those accents on the last syllable that become an accent. But yeah, that makes sense since both sound the same when used on their own. Verbs might all become unaccented, but don't quote me on that. We'll check it again in the future. But yeah, what was important more than that is actually this Shigeru is actually the name of, it comes from Miyamoto Shigeru. So yeah, the name of Miyamoto-san, because yeah, that's actually the name of the rival of Gary in Japanese. And funny enough, that's because the name of Ash in Japanese is Satoshi. Satoshi as in Tajiri Satoshi. So yeah, Tajiri-san, the creator of Pokémon. So yeah, it was worth mentioning that yeah, they come from this. So yeah, Ash's Japanese name is the name of the creator of Pokémon, while the rival is Shigeru Miyamoto. Yeah, so Gary is Shigeru Miyamoto in Japanese. Well, yeah. Then we have Tsunekazu. Tsunekazu, I'm pretty sure that should be from Tsunekazu Hishihara. So Hishihara-san. The order actually Ishihara Tsunekazu is mentioned. The order in Japanese, as a reminder, first we say the surname and then the given name. Yeah, most certainly this Tsunekazu is from his name. And then we have a suspicious Satoru, which, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it were from Iwata Satoru. So yeah, Satoru Iwata. So yeah, funny enough, all names apart from green of video game makers, of course, all either related to Pokemon or at least Nintendo. But yeah, we choose green. So we're actually following the names technically of these characters in video games. Because yeah, they're usually called. Also, I'm pretty sure even though I've actually seen, I actually play Pokemon Masters EX, so I actually see it frequently. But yeah, red I'm completely sure, and I'm pretty sure also green. The girl became blue. But yeah, they're also the names of the characters in the manga, so yeah, I'm going in Pokemon Special. So yeah, I'm going for that. And yeah, then Oak simply says, green datta kana. So yeah, we have green datta, which is the past form, the ta form of the copula in plain speech. Technically from the atta. And that one would be the past form of the copula in the formal, literally, form of the aru. Yeah, datta is a contraction of that. Aru, and so also the aru, verb, code and verb, it's in ru, so it becomes double consonant I again, so yeah, change the u into i. The i fell, the arta, difficult to pronounce, so the atta, and so then datta. And then again kana. I wonder if it was green, and yeah, we'll say yes. And yeah, then after we told him, he says, Soda, omoidashita zo. You sure did, Doc. You sure did. Yeah, first we have So. Actually, again, part of the Kosovo series with this O. It means in that way. So then we can also say thus, such. But yeah, literally would be better in that way. Unaccented. Luckily, like most Kosovo series for Kosovo as mentioned. Then we have the copula again in plain speech da. Yeah, here literally as in an exclamation soda. It's that way. And then after that it says omoidashita zo. Yeah, first and foremost omoidashita. From omoidasu. Funny enough, you can see omoidasu in its kanji in chat because Ringo wrote it. Yeah, as you can see there also, it has two kanji. It's unsurprisingly a compound verb from omo, to think, to consider, to believe, and so on. With a different kanji can also have as connotations of heartfelt, but yeah, with the usual one, which is this one we can see again also in chat, it's simply to think. Thus, we even studied its kanji. It means to take, to put, and so on, to get out. It's a transitive form of teru, to go, come, get out, to exit. When used as the second verb of a compound verb, well, first, omo, as mentioned, we would change u verb, code verb, so we change the u into i to make the continuative form to attach the second verb part of the compound, tatsu. It has two meanings when used as the second verb part of the compound. Literally simply out, to jump out, to carry out, and so on. or to begin, to start to burst into. And specifically that one because, as we have seen, there are other verbs that when added as the second part of a compound verb have the meanings to begin, to start to. With dasu we have specifically this to burst into. So yeah, like in this case actually, technically I've to burst into remembering, to burst into thinking, quote unquote, but yeah, it's omoidasu, like accented like dasu, means to recall, to remember, to recollect. And yeah, it's because of that. Dasu, verb colon verb, luckily in su, so we literally change the u into it to make the conjunctive form and then add ta. Last but not least, we have the final sentence particle zo, made to more language. As we have seen, technically false. We have found it, funny enough, a lot in Pokémon Snap because of Hawk. As false indicates command. I'd say maybe false also simply in the sense of actually emphasis in a way. But yeah. So yeah, he says it's that way I've remembered. Yeah, after that he says green to you namae da. Yeah, we have again green because it's the option we have picked. To, the quotation particle, you, to say in general, in this case better to name, to call. And then technically after that we have a noun, so technically green to you, a relative clause refer to and modifying namae, name again, as we have seen. Name in general or specific given name, and then the final, the copula again. So yeah, it's the name, literally, which is called green. Yeah, so his name is green. Then we simply adapt it. And yeah. Okay, we're getting closer and closer to the end here. Yeah, first and foremost, here it simply says Reddo. Yeah, you can do simply like this to call to someone. Technically, you could also add ayo. But yeah, here we have then iyo. Kore kara kimi no monogatari no hajimari da. Yeah, first and foremost we have this iyo, which has technically two meanings. It's an adverb. Technically not an onomatopoeia, even though despite this repetition. So actually better because then we don't have to worry because considering that actually the accent is on the first yo, low, high, low, unlike usually onomatopoeias. So yeah, simply a repetition. Repetition which makes sense considering one of its meanings is simply more and more. Yeah, you can see the repetition even in that translation in English. So all the more increasingly. Another translation, which is the one that interests us, is actually at last, finally, beyond doubt, maybe because of by extension. But yeah, that's the translation that interests us. Then we have Kore, part of the custodial series, as mentioned, with the re is the demonstrative pronoun, so this, or this. Here, simply this, I'd say. Because after that we have kara from this, as in from this moment onward usually. Can simply be also from this, as in from this point, from here. Again, in this case I say literally, actually in the temporal sense, for a kara. By the way, as we checked also last time, I think, for a previous one, technically in this expression with kore is unaccented. Kara is accented on the last syllable, so the accent of kore kara will be the accent of kara, so on the last syllable. Of course, without adding anything else, you can't hear it, so it sounds like the same as if it were unaccented, but technically it's accented on the last smaller syllable, doesn't matter here. Then we have kimi no, your, of you literally. We have monogatari, we've seen it before. We've even studied its kanji, it's in the title of Kirby's Adventure. Oshinokabi, Yume no Izumi no Monogatari. Monogatari comes from mono, which we have already seen, thing as in object. Then we have this gatari from katari. Actually from kataru, I think was an accent. We studied also its kanji, as mentioned. Kataru, unaccented, yes, means to... well, the fundamental meaning is to tell, as in to actually to narrate. Can be more in general to talk, to tell, to talk about, to speak of. Other extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is that. Here with the voicing, because it's the second part of a compound, it's of strictly Japanese origin. The accent, and here we have another confirmation of this tendency of these compounds of being accented there. The accent is on the first mora of the second part of the compound, so on the ga. Monogatari, low, high, high, low, low. But yeah, literally narrating things, so yeah, monogatari is story, tale, narrative, and so on. Then we have the possessive particle no, of. And then last but not least we have hajimari. From hajimaru, to start, to begin. Should be an accent, but we check, we have found it before. To begin, to start, to commence, it's unaccented. It's a u verb, codon verb, so we can change the u into i to make the continuative form, and so the corresponding noun, hajimari, beginning, start, so yeah, the noun. And then the copula, da. And so yeah, the translation is, at last, finally, it really has to be said, from now, from this point, from now on, it's the start of your tale, of your story. And yeah, then we have Yumeto Bokento. Yeah, funny enough, as mentioned, Yume mentioned already, because I said again that, well, actually, accent on the last syllable, so Yume. Yeah, Yume, dream, mentioned because of the Japanese title of Kirby's Adventure. Then we have the particle to, so with. Technically, then strictly would be with, but it's used also as an and for exhaustive lists. Yeah, by the way, accent on the last syllable, and by adding a particle like to, we get to hear it. So you, me, to, low, high, low. Then we have Boken, adventure, as already mentioned. We even studied this kanji because of the adventure of Link. Notice, again, another to. Nowadays, usually it's not used, this structure. But yeah, you can technically, I think in the past it was actually required to add technically a to after the first noun and another to after the second one. The meanings are still the same. So yeah, in this case, dreams and adventure, or yeah, dreams I'd say in translation in this case. Dreams and adventures, then we could say in general. Then it says Pokétto Monster no Sekai e. And yeah, the usual Pokétto Monster, Pocket Monster, the possessive particle no. Sekai, as we have seen, a Chinese compound accent on the first syllable, this one, means word. And then the particle e written as he, two words. And yeah, so to the word of Pocket Monsters, you could say. And then let's go. We could barely see it. It's worth only mentioning that Retsu, well, the usual R instead of L, traditional U. Notice also the doubling of the consonant, Retsu. Usually not used on its own. I doubt I'll find also its accent. Go, simply with the longer vowel, but yeah, makes sense, like similar to English, since Japanese doesn't have this go or go. So it simply becomes longer vowel. That one accented on the go, of course. The accent of let's go fully, literally, let's go from English, is on the re. In this case, we keep the accent of the first word, technically. Yeah, let's go. And yeah, we have finally started the game itself. Okay, so yeah. We start looking around, first and foremost, we are in our room. I can't not check out this first and foremost. And yeah, it says Red wa Famicom o shiteru. And yeah. Oh, the name of our protagonist, Red. Wa, the topic particle. Famicom. Famicom, as in the abbreviation of family computer. The Japanese counterpart to NES. Then we have the object particle O, and then shiteru from suru, to do. In this case, also used to play, like play a video game or play a console, like in our case. In its step form, unfortunately, suru is completely irregular. It becomes shite. It's worth mentioning that actually its continuative form becomes shi, and then we add te, simply shite. The I barely heard, if at all, because it's between voice consonants. And then we have this ru at the end, an abbreviation of iru, and so yeah, continuing action or state. So yeah, red, as for red, he is doing, as in actually is playing, the Famicom. Then the suspension dots, Yosh. We have seen it a lot, funny enough, in Pokemon Snap. This Yosh comes from I, Yoi. I usually used as the fundamental form on its own nowadays. Yoi the original one used still when conjugating it. It means good, by extension nice, and so on. Yosh, with this she, technically, often pronounced as Yosh because the E at the end is barely heard if at all, preceded by an unvoiced consonant, like in this case. And yeah, it's actually simply a the classical form of Yoi. And yeah, so it's used nowadays as an exclamation for alright, okay, right on, looking good, other examples of translations in the dictionary. Yeah. Okay. And then it says Soro Soro, the Kakeyo. First and foremost, Soro Soro. Which is an adverb. This one actually, I don't know how to pay. I like your accent like those, so on the first. So, on the first, more. Soro Soro. High, low, low, low. It means, it has some, a couple of meanings. The the most common one nowadays is for soon, before long, anytime now, momentarily. Often than not, actually, simply soon. Can also be used for, and actually this might be the original meanings, slowly, quietly, steadily, and yeah, because of that, then the sooner, gradually, gingerly. Yeah. And then, last but not least, we have the Kakeru, the Kakeyo here. From the Eru, we have studied its kanji already, to exit as mentioned. Kakeru is the usual one, Kakeru, to hang up and so on, but yeah. In this case, with the meanings when used as the second part of a compound, to be about to. I'd say, because yeah, technically the Kakeru, by the way, unaccented, so be careful, unlike Kakeru on its own, it's another one of those exceptions. Yeah, it means to go out, but usually specifically on an excursion or outing, to leave, to depart, to start, to set out. But yeah, it also has the meaning, and yeah, that's the usage with Kakeru, to be about, to leave, to be just going out. Oh yeah. It's a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru and add yo, u, so actually long yo, to make the volitional form. And so yeah, here it's most common usage, so as a let's. And yeah, so here it says, okay, let's depart, let's set out, soon. Yeah, funny enough, yeah, as you can see there, it's straight up a small Famicom, really cute. I don't remember, yeah, we can check the TV on its own. We should be able to use, nope, not the bad, I think of other ones. Okay, let's check this one. It says Kirena Tansuda. First and foremost, Kire, or Kirei for those who still pronounce E as that instead of long E. The accent is on the ki, regardless. Kire, high and low, low. It's an adjective, as we can see also here. Literally, we have an A. It has the meanings pretty, lovely, beautiful, fair. More specifically, usually pretty. It also has the meanings clean, clear, pure, tidy, neat. So actually, most likely, the then pretty and so on came from that, would be my guess. Also considering how that cleanliness is quite important in, well, technically still in Japan, but it's actually a concept for Shintoism, we would say, outside of Japan, Japanese religion. But yeah, here, well, we could actually keep the meaning tidy in this case, because the following noun modified by it is tansu. Tansu is a cabinet, a dresser, or simply we could say a chest of drawers. Technically a Chinese compound, and luckily unaccented like those, like most of those. And then the topic, the copula, da, in plain speech. So yeah, it's a pretty, we could say, actually I'd say a tidy, but maybe better, cabinet, dresser, chest of drawers. And then it says Ironna Monoga Hairiso. First we have this Ironna from the Iroiro we have seen before, the doubling of technically Iro, accented on its own on the last syllable. Color. With the doubling it becomes of various, most likely original colors, but nowadays simply various something. Iroiro, unaccented, like Iro on its own. An adjective, Iroirona, but we also have this contraction here, Ironna, still unaccented. So yeah, various, mono, again, things as in objects. Then we have the subject particle ga. And then we have hairiso from Hairu. We studied its kanji in the last series, in the previous series, Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2. To go, come, get, in, to enter. Verb, colon, verb. Technically, as a reminder again, a compound verb, because the original verb with this simply meaning to go, come, get, in was iru, unaccented. Still used in some expressions, but yeah, nowadays we use this compound hairu, actually from ha-i, iru, then most likely ei, fell, day of iru actually, as we've seen, but you can check that again. We mentioned it when we studied the kanji, I think, and also in other occasions. But yeah, verb, colon, verb. Be careful, despite being in iru. So yeah, it's a verb, colon, verb. Those in iru, eru usually are ru verbs, ichidan verbs, but there are exceptions, including this one. So we change the u into i to make the continuative form, to then add this so, this auxiliary adjective technically. Oop, didn't want to make it go away. Pressed it too much. Auxiliary adjective, na adjective. After the continuative form of verbs, it adds the meanings appearing, that, seeming, that, looking like, having the appearance of. And yeah, so yeah, the translation here is simply it looks like, it appears that several things can enter it, so it can be put in it. we'll quickly check also this one. Yeah, pretty easy. Pokémon no hon ga ippai. Well, first of all, most Pokémon, usual abbreviation for Pocket Monster. Pokémon. The possessive particle no. Hon. The Chinese reading but is a noun on its own in this case. Should be accented. Yes, it is. We even studied its kanji, I'm pretty sure, in when we played The Legend of Zelda, I think, but you can verify it as usual in the description of those series to also see in which specific part we played it, if you want to review it or watch it for the first time. Otherwise you can check it elsewhere, of course, as well. But yeah, hon means book. Books also, potentially. Yeah, in our case, books, considering the context. Then we have ga, the subject particle. And yeah, then we have ippai. As a reminder, quickly from it's a numeral plus counter combination originally. And when used as such, accent on the I, well, accented before the counter, so high. The accent then can stay on the small tsu, the doubling of the following consonant, so it moves on the I. Literally would be one cup, can also be one bowl, by extension one glass, cup full, glass full, bowl full. Technically the dictionary mentions also spoonful. In this case, by extension, yeah, from most likely one full implied cup, bowl, it becomes the meaning a lot, much, many. It's worth mentioning again that when used as an adverb like that, ippai, with not the numeral plus counter meaning, original meaning, but simply this extended one, full, fully, and so on, it becomes an accent. We have verified it with the physical dictionary. You can actually quickly find it again. Shouldn't take me long, but we have already seen it. Yeah. And yeah, there's straight up the distinction. Technically, nowadays, you wouldn't write this one with kanji. The one meaning is simply fully, a lot. While the one with the numeral plus counter you would write in kanji, so there's also that distinction, but also the accent. But yeah, here it simply says it's full of books of Pokemon. And yeah, well, we can actually quickly we'll check the options here of the PC in the future. I want to quickly get the potion that's present here. We'll we'll retrieve it, we could say. Wanted to quickly show here this one before finishing. It says Kami ga hatte aru. Well, Kami in this case actually should be, because accented on the last syllable, it means paper. And we can actually hear the accent here by adding then the subject particle Kami ga, oh, high, low. Then we have the verb hatte, from haru. Should be unaccented. This is the one specifically with the meaning to stick, to paste. U verb, Godan verb, so we have to follow the rules to make the T form. It's in Ru, so it becomes double consonant T, so U into I to make the continuative form, Harite, and the I file Aharte, difficult to pronounce, Hatte, Hatte. And then we add after it Aru to be as into exist. After that, the form of a verb, it becomes an auxiliary with the meaning that something technically exists in a completed state. Something is or is, as in something is unchanged in its current state. So yeah, these are the meanings of te aru. It's used with transitive verbs. So yeah, someone, not specified. The focus is on, as we have seen, the state of the verb, which can be either a completed state or an unchanged current state. So in this case, it's the paper is pasted on the wall, clearly. Then the okay, then we have that. Okay, yeah, let's quickly check it. What it says: Wakaranai koto ga attara herupu. First and foremost, we have wakaranai from wakaru, which means to understand. As I think I mentioned before, let me quickly check the accent, but I'm pretty sure it's accented. Its meaning nowadays is to understand. Most likely it comes from the other meaning, which is to become clear, to be known, to be discovered, and so on. Because actually, most likely, it's related to wakeru, which means to divide into, to split into, to part, and so on. By extension, then also to distinguish, to discriminate, to differentiate. Yeah, then transitive form in eru, the intransitive in aru, most likely the one in aru, then the intransitive is a classical form of the passive. It is distinguished, discriminated. So yeah, then it becomes the verb, which means to understand. So yeah, in Japanese, be careful because yeah, something is understated, comprehended technically. It's intransitive, so yeah, be careful. U verb Godan verb, so we can change the U into A to make the irrealist form, the not yet state form, as I call it based on the Japanese name, nomenclature. Form which is more often than not used in combination with nai, an adjective which means non-existent on its own, and so used actually for the negative in plain speech. Here followed by koto, so yeah, thing doesn't matter. If there are things, matters that you don't understand, so yeah, wakaranai actually in a attributive position, like relative clauses. Then we have the subject particle ga. Attara, from aru, we make that a form. Again, it's in ru. It's a verb, Godan verb, it's in ru, so it becomes double consonant ta. Ta form, past form of the verb. With the additional ra, though, it becomes one of the forms of the conditionals if, when, so actually also with a temporal meaning, depending on the context, like in English. This one is the conditional which focuses on the action of the verb in tara having happened before the rest of the sentence can happen. And yeah, so unsurprising that it uses the past form of the verb in the ta form, considering that. And then we have help from English simply, so yeah, help. Let's see quickly its accent. Yeah, accented on the he, just like in English. So yeah, literally, if or when there's something, well, literally a thing or facts or matters that you don't understand. If when there are things, matters that you don't understand, help. Help, as in there's an implied, let's say, there's the help. And yeah, then he mentions Eru botanka aru botande mirare mas. Yeah, we have L, Eru in Japanese. The accent is just like in English. Botan, an accented button, but it actually comes from Portuguese. Botao. Ka, or in this case, most likely still the origin from the interrogative particle. So, is it L or is it R? Then we would need another ka at the end in that sense, but yeah, then by became most likely, that's why we use ka for or. But yeah, here simply a single ka, so yeah, used as a or the L button or the R button, aru, also like in English, de, so with the L button or the R button, and then mirare mas, from miru, to see, to look at, to watch, ru verb, it's then verb, so we can change the u into a and then add reru, to make, in this case, technically can also be used as the passive form of the verb, but for ru verbs, it's then verbs, it's also the potential form. It can be found abbreviated, especially I'm pretty sure the potential form, so mi, re, mas would be, can be seen more often with other verbs. But yeah, so there's that. Passive / potential form are ru verbs, it's then verbs, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative forms, to simply add mas and make the polite form. So yeah, in this case, it's you can look at the help menu with the L button or the R button. And yeah, with that we should have checked everything inside here, except for all the options in the PC, but we ignore them. And yeah, so I'd say we can actually save now here. We check these all these options eventually. Nope, not that one. Yeah, it should be this one. And yeah, there shouldn't be any dialogue. I think that we are missing it, so we check this again in the future. But yeah. So yeah, we can finally save, and so we have properly started our save file, and yeah. So next time we'll actually go down and continue checking out our house, and then from there, yeah, let's close the game. And yes, so today we have continued the additional intro. We still have one part, but we checked out more of that. We finished the Ox intro, the original one that was present also in the original red and green, red and blue outside of Japan. And so we have finally started playing the game. We checked out our room. And yeah, so next time which should be on Wednesday as usual, unless plans change, we'll finally finish the additional intro, so that will be done finally. But after that, we'll continue playing the game. And yeah, we'll definitely go downstairs, check out the rest of the house. And then from there, you can guess, then we'll leave the house. And so actually start going around our town. So yeah, see you on, should be Wednesday. See you next time.